It's one thing to pray and to praise and to worship and to go after God when it's sunny outside, but it's another time when you're literally in the emergency room, or figuratively in the emergency room, or you find yourself, your relationship's on life support, and a couple is ready to pull the plug.
Come on.
Say there are no symptoms of life left. The only way this relationship or marriage is alive is because of this machine or apparatus that it's connected to.
And that apparatus is usually the kids,
yes,
or extended family,
yes,
obligations,
yes,
but not the relationship.
Its own free will or its own free volition.
Yes.
And to your question is like, what do you do in that moment?
You and I have been together 30 years. It's 2026 now, so 30 years this year. And so in that time, we have built up the currency with one another in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
So that when the crisis comes and we need to make some big withdrawals, we got some money in the bank. And I want to say that very, very clearly. There have been times where we have had to make large withdrawals, from our relational account, with one another.
Jesus.
But the reason that we had some credit is because we didn't chip away at that haphazardly.
Yeah, that's true.
Over the years.
You refinance your house every
Listen. Baby, you can't just keep let me refi and just pay my TV off. Let me refi, right? Every other month.
You calling Big Kev Hurley over there. Send me the loan application.
Shout out to Kev Hurley, loan broker. Our brother, and we can't even. He is our brother. We can't even call him a friend. He's our brother. My brother for 4+ decades, and your brother for 3+ decades. So shout out to Kev Hurley. But we can't call Kev every 5 minutes and say that. And so within our relationship, when we have those conversations about fighting fair, and have those conversations about how you engage on a day-to-day basis, are you edifying? Are you the person that's going to build them up? Are you the person that's going to, take the L? When you need to take the L. Because you got to own it. When it's on you, just own it. So that you can move away, so that when you do get in those large moments of crisis, you have something there, and those moments are coming. Welcome to With Love, the Chambers,
where life, laughter, and lasting lessons meet.
We're the Chambers, a husband and wife navigating faith, family, and everything in between.
Here we share real stories, heartfelt conversations, and a whole lot of love. Because life isn't perfect, but God's grace sure is.
So pull up a seat, grab a cup of coffee, or go ahead and sip that tea, and join us for honest talks, laughs, and the wisdom we're learning along the way. This is With Love, the Chambers.
This episode of With Love, the Chambers was brought to you by the Vision Engineering Collective, where purpose meets strategy and vision comes to life. If you've been enjoying the stories, the laughs, and those deep life lessons, we invite you to support the show and help us keep the love flowing. Head over to www.coff.ee/withlovethechambers. Think of it like buying us a cup of coffee or two. As always, thank you for hanging with us. Now back to the show.
Welcome to another With Love Wednesday with Jamila and Rufus. We are so excited to welcome you here today as we prepare to have another amazing discussion. As always, we thank you so much for liking every video, sharing this content, hitting us in our DMs and letting you know how much you appreciate the work that happens here. We value you so very much. And if you have any questions for us or want to make sure that you connect with us, we certainly welcome you to do so. How you feeling today, Mr. Chambers?
Feeling all right. We're in 2026 and have some clarity, have some alignment,
Come on.
have some a trajectory to
Yes.
pursue. So I can't complain about a thing. Doing well.
Yes.
What about you?
Yes. 2026 is one of those moments. Personally, it feels like such a tremendous amount of moving forward. But just with everything going on in the world and
Yeah.
everything going on in our nation, you can't help but feel like you are in a time that requires a response from
Mm,
us in a unique way, a way that we have not responded before.
wow.
And part of that response is what we're going to talk about
Mm,
today,
okay.
and talk about being in the emergency room, being in moments of crisis,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're moments of crisis in your marriage, in your finances, in your health.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us gets out of life or gets out of um, position
Yeah.
without having to navigate skillfully
Yes.
moments of crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And so today, I wanted to take a little bit to talk about navigating through moments of crisis, what we should do,
Yeah.
what we shouldn't do,
Yeah.
um, how to pray
Yeah.
in moments of crisis, how to keep the faith in moments
Mm-hmm.
of crisis, because those things tend to be easier when the sun is shining,
That's right.
when our money's up, as the kids would say, when we up,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
things are going well and all of that. But when it gets real tight and it gets real tough, it gets hard to kind of see your way through it sometimes.
Yeah.
So I just want to start with my first question on the table for today,
Mm-hmm.
which is, you find yourself in a moment of crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Now what?
Oof. Yeah, that's a great question. And I feel like this conversation is important for a couple reasons. I think number one, we've been talking about having real conversations
Yes.
to help real people so that they can navigate life. As much as I'm sure our audience is enjoying our voices and our banter, at the same time, we want you to be able to walk away with something tangible, something practical, something that can really aid them in their time of need
Mhm.
or aid them in their everyday life. And I
Yes.
feel like this conversation was birthed out of a desire to really want to help somebody or help some people that may be in a tough spot.
Mhm.
Life is happening. People are getting text messages, people are getting phone calls with crisis moments, crisis
Yes.
scenarios. And, I feel like a lot of our faith exercise and
Yes.
personified is for those moments.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's funny, some people are church attenders and they go to
Yes.
church, 52 Sundays or maybe 45 Sundays a year. And,
Yes.
they're celebrating. But what we like to say is a lot of times the investment that you're making in your spirituality, in your faith, and of course, we're followers of Christ, we're Christians. Sometimes that repetition is for what you don't know is actually coming down the
Come
road.
on.
We are storing up devotion and study and prayer and fasting for unknown seasons.
Mhm.
And sometimes that means a crisis will hit and you find yourself in the emergency room not knowing what's going to happen.
Mhm.
And that's something we've talked about privately. You know what I mean? It's one thing to pray and to praise and to worship
Mhm.
and to go after God when it's sunny outside, but it's another time when you're literally in the emergency room or figuratively in the emergency room, or you find your relationships on life support. And, a couple is ready to pull the plug.
Come on.
Say there are no symptoms of life left.
Mm.
The only way this relationship or marriage is alive is because of this machine or apparatus
Hmm.
that it's connected to.
And that apparatus is usually the kids or
Yes.
extended family or
Yes.
obligations,
Yes.
but not the
Its
relationship
own free
itself.
will or its own
Yes.
free volition,
Yes.
and to your question is like, what do you do in that moment?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And, I think in our lives,
Hmm.
when we've been in those moments, and I know y'all, hey, it looks sweet and bless God. But there have been moments
Yes.
in our marriage, in our family, where we have been literally and figuratively in the emergency room.
Yes.
And I think, number one is those moments always challenge you to articulate what you actually believe.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? What you believe about, if we talk about relationship, what you believe about the relationship, what you believe about yourself, and what you believe about your partner.
Yes.
You know what I mean? What do you believe? And we've talked about this on this platform before, is when pressure is applied, whatever's inside a vessel is going to come out.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Um, if, and again, I know I'm already getting a little preachy up in here,
Go ahead.
but again,
It's being said.
if somebody, steps on your toe, that first reaction
Is
going to be
it's
what's on the
in you.
inside. That's the meditation
Yes.
of your heart. And I think sometimes with our faith is we're trying to get our minds renewed and reconditioned so that we can respond appropriately in moments of crisis,
Mhm.
when we are on life support or we are in the emergency room.
Mhm.
And, for you, Jamila, we've had multiple, moments and times, right? When, we've had some challenging moments, we've had some curveballs, some Houdini just show up like, oh Lord, the Pandora box is opened.
Yes.
Jack in the Box hops out the box. When you revisit those moments, what what are some of the things that you remember, like how you got through or how we got through?
Wow, it's a couple of things that I was just thinking about as you was talking, and I want to answer your question, but I want to go back to why you were talking about this being such an
Mhm.
important
Yeah.
conversation. And one of the most challenging moments, and I've shared that shared some about it on this
Mhm.
platform before, but one of the most challenging moments of crisis in my life
Mhm.
was the passing of my brother.
Mhm.
And I remember several months before he passed away, uh, pastors Rick and Kay Warren,
Mhm.
Saddleback Church in Orange County, had lost their son.
Mhm.
Their son took his own life months
Mhm.
before
Mhm.
uh, my brother passed away in the same manner.
Mhm.
And I remember, for some reason, being very hyper aware of how they responded.
Mhm. Mhm.
And one of the things that I'm paraphrasing was the response, but one of the uh, things that I took away from their response was that they very much leaned into one another.
That's good. Say it again.
And
Say it again. Say it again. The who?
they leaned into one another, and they
Read.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
and they very much and the one another was themselves as a couple, their
Yeah.
community.
Yes.
A lot of talk about the support from their small
Mhm.
group and just
Yeah.
folks that they trust. And um there was this way of honoring their son that just
Mhm.
really just got my attention in
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I would say for folks listening to conversations like this
Mm-hmm.
is just to know that a crisis is coming.
Mm.
Like, there was a time in my life that I didn't know what it was like to receive that phone call. I've
Mm.
received that kind of call
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
The type of phone call that there was a life that you lived before that phone rang
Mm-hmm.
and after the phone rings, and it's something like as literal as that. Not to mention my phone just ringing a few minutes ago. You would think I would turn my phone off when I'm recording. But
Yeah.
but I know what it's like for the phone to ring and then your life is totally different
Yes.
after the phone,
Yes.
after that particular phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And for many people listening, they understand
Yeah.
that sentiment. And so I think it's just important to have that level of preparation.
Mm-hmm.
We live in California. And one of the things just a year ago, right when we
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
filming this a year
Yeah.
ago, not only did we live in California, we live in Los Angeles, just a few miles away from the devastating fires in Altadena and the Pacific Palisades last year. And one of the things that I remember feeling so acutely at that time was in California, we don't know how to prepare for crisis.
Mm.
The sun is always shining.
Yeah.
We have earthquakes,
Yeah.
major earthquakes, maybe once every other decade,
Yeah.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are 5 decades walking the planet, 5 decades plus this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we maybe had 2 major earthquake occurrences that we can
Yeah.
remember in our
Yeah.
lifetimes, right?
Yeah.
And so we have very short memory when it comes to preparing. Whereas some people in the nation, they know it's going to be hurricane season, they know it's going to be flood
Every
season.
year.
On the East Coast, they have snow days built into the academic
Yeah.
calendar for kids because they know crisis is coming. And in California, we get a little
Yeah.
lax,
A little false sense
a little
of reality.
false sense of something
Yeah.
with that. And so I want to just, and we're just having a conversation here. So for the listener,
Yeah.
just track with us for a second.
Just roll with it.
Just roll with us. But these conversations are so important because by and large, most people have that I live in sunny Southern California
That's
mentality
true.
about the ways
That's
life
true.
can show up.
Yeah.
And there's not that level of preparation. We don't have wills and trusts and advance directives and all the things. And we've talked about that even on this platform, being challenged by some mentors to kind of get ourselves together and
Yeah.
get our financial lives in order and that sort of thing, because crisis does not give us forewarning. So there's that. But on the relationship topic, because you and I, you were leading into this conversation specifically was saying, hey, when you and I have been in crisis,
Yeah.
and we have been certainly in crisis, like what is our first response and what is our first relationship, kind of what comes out?
Yeah.
And we talked a couple of episodes ago about fighting fear. And I want to go back and kind of touch on that for a second because you and I have been together 30 years. It's 2026 now. So 30 years this year. And so in that time, we have built up the currency with one another in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
So that when the crisis comes and we need to make some big withdrawals, we got some money in the bank. And I want to say that very, very clearly. There have been times where we have had to make large withdrawals, from our relational account, with one another.
Jesus.
But the reason that we had some credit is because we didn't chip away at that haphazardly.
Yeah. That's true.
Over the years.
You refinance your house every
Listen. Baby, you can't just keep let me refi and just pay my TV off. Let me refi, right?
Every other month.
Every other month.
You calling Big Kev Hurley over there. Send me the loan application. Hold
Shout out to Kev Hurley, loan broker, our brother, and
Exactly.
we can't even. He is our brother. We can't even call him a
Yeah,
friend. He's
yeah.
our brother. My brother for four plus decades, and your brother for 3+ decades. So yeah, shout out to Kev Hurley. But we can't call Kev every 5 minutes and say that. And so within our relationship, when we have those conversations about fighting fair,
Yeah.
and have those conversations about how you engage
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis. Are you edifying? Are you the person that's going to build them up?
Yeah.
Are you the person that's going to, take the L, when you need to take the L?
Yeah.
Because you got to own it. When it's on you, just own it.
Yeah.
So that you can move away, so that when you do get in those large moments of crisis,
Yeah.
you have something there, and those moments are coming. Because me and you, we was just so glossy-eyed. I don't know if you remember Grandfather Ivory Grandfather Ivory passed away shortly after Winter was born. So Winter was born in November, and he passed away that January, February, just a couple of months, maybe February the following year. Mama had to correct me, but just a couple of months
spring,
in the early spring. So just a couple of months later. And I remember when he looked at Winter, he said, "The whites of her eyes are so white, her eyes look blue."
Mm-hmm.
And I have used that analogy to describe youth and naivete. I have used it to describe enthusiasm. So there is a place for it. Me and you, we've been together since we were 19 and 21. And our eyes, the whites of our eyes was so white they were blue, right? I remember grandfather Jay trying to give us some advice about marriage and how to navigate through things. And we like, "Oh, grandfather,
Nah.
we got this.
Yeah.
You don't know."
Yeah.
And as Ken Lewis would say, I know. Could you imagine? We were probably late 20s, early 30s, and we trying to tell the 70, 80-year-old.
Yeah.
It's totally laughable now because we know better now. Grandfather just looked at us and shook his head. And just God bless him, right? Because the whites of their eyes are so white, they are blue. And so we've had those moments of naivete, and we've had those moments of thinking that crisis wasn't going to hit us, that we were going to be the ones that didn't apply to us. But there is no such thing.
That's right.
There is no such thing. And so what I would say is have something to go in the bank and get. And number two, back to the fighting fear, which is why I remembered it, we outlawed the word divorce. We just said, we're not going to say it.
Yeah.
We are not going to say it. I don't care how you feel about it.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what you're going to do. We started this together. And the way this ends is not in a courtroom. That's not the way that this ends.
Have mercy.
And that was a decision. That's a choice you and I made. And I will pause. That's a choice we have to continue to make.
Yes.
I have said this repeatedly. We are on version 7.0, 8.0 of each other now.
Yeah.
I just got me a new iPhone 17. We something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's
you stay
true.
with somebody long enough.
Yeah.
They're not the person you met. They're not the person you married. They're not the person you had your first set of kids with. And, things change. What was up is now down.
Yeah.
What was in is now out. All the things. We laugh looking at each other's tattoos like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sure looked different.
Sure
Back in the 1900s, that sure looked different.
Sure
if I
did.
wasn't so scary, I'd get them covered up.
Yeah.
I think I'm scary now. But
yeah.
I say all that to say that's what we had to rely on,
Mm-hmm.
in those moments of crisis in our marriage, that we had to, number one, make sure we prepared for the storm
That's true.
in a day-to-day way.
Mm-hmm.
And when that moment hit, stand on your square.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't deviate from
Yeah,
what you know to do.
that's right. That's right.
For you in our relationship,
Mm-hmm.
especially for the men, because we talk about this and you talk to men often about how to navigate these waters with
Yeah.
their wives and partners and how to thread this needle
Yeah.
with women in particular, because there are some sensitivities, and women tend to have more of the tools around communication and conflict negotiation. One thing you will say to me all the time is that I'm never going to be able to outtalk you, right?
Facts.
I'm never going to be able to do that.
Facts.
Um, One of our good sisters at the church, that's a psychologist. Name starts with an N. Anyway, in the marriage ministry,
Mm-hmm.
she had
Mm-hmm.
a great conversation with us in some breakout sessions about how girls, when they play,
Oh yeah,
uh,
I remember you sharing that. Yeah.
yes, girls when they play,
Mm-hmm.
play games that require communication with one
That's
another.
good.
So
That's good.
girls on the playground will sit around and talk. Girls will sit
Yeah.
around and play with dolls. Girls will, just by nature of play,
Mm-hmm.
tend to play in ways that make them better
Yeah.
communicators.
Yeah.
Boys, they start bouncing that ball. Nobody's talking.
Yeah.
You gonna play basketball, you gonna play football, you go, catch or whatever. But there's not a lot of
Yeah.
verbal
Yes. Yes.
communication
Especially nuances.
and the
Yeah.
nuances of that in that way.
Yes.
So what say you to the brothers in moments of crisis in their marriage and relationships?
Yeah. It's I'm thinking about so many conversations and so many, instances where, and I'm thinking again about that emergency room because
Yes.
sometimes, if we're aware, we know, and again, you got to follow us with this analogy of the emergency room or life support.
Yes.
Before getting into the emergency room, there are other lead ups that help us understand what could possibly be coming. You know what I mean? And I think, sometimes with men, we ignore the warning signs that danger is coming
Mm.
or that, hey, you keep it up, you're going to be in emergency. It's no different than how a lot of men my age, how we handle our health.
Mhm.
We're not really big on the whole preventive maintenance and, oh, why don't you just run that extra test? And yeah, you know what? I know I'm off cycle for blood. Just run it.
Yes.
We don't. I mean, most of the brothers I roll with, we're not just running around like that. We're not running to the doctor every 2 minutes. So I think back to your point about when the crisis moment hits, when the relationship is at a place of depletion
Mhm.
or at a place of near bankruptcy, it's again, I think the husband, the man, we have to double down. And part of, I believe, how God has made men, there is a leadership capacity in us. And a lot of men that I talk to, I try and have that conversation is, we have to understand the need to lead in the relationship. And sometimes that means if we're in the emergency room and we're in the crisis, a husband or a man should know how to get out of the emergency room.
Mhm.
You got it? If
Mhm.
somebody busts in the house, with an AR-15, we're gonna know, okay, we gotta do 4 things very quickly, family.
Mhm.
Blah, blah, blah. It's no different, right? So, but sometimes, some men they don't look at their job or role as husband or man as having that relationship expertise on how to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because, and as an example, let me help the men. If you in the emergency room and your marriage is about to flatline and you in there talking about, but I bring my check home every day, that's not the time to make that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was just as simple as bringing your check home, you wouldn't be in the emergency room.
Right.
You got it? So I think, you know, some of the men that are listening now, and this is what we encourage people, do the work before the crisis.
Yes.
Invest in date night, counseling, therapy before you are in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's one thing that you can do. And, you know, I think also, you know, in the moment, in the heat of the moment, we got to really, as a problem solver, how did we get here?
Mm-hmm.
What decisions did I make to influence us being here? You know, was I asleep at the wheel?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I know, you know, in our marriage, there have been times when I've been asleep at the wheel, you know, and this is something, you know, I remember, you know, Bishop Jakes, you know, talks about some of his really old teachings to men is, you know, boys like to learn the rules
Mm-hmm.
when they're kids. How do you play basketball? Hey, you take the ball, you dribble it, you put it in the goal,
Mm-hmm.
and whoever has the most, great, I do it. Sometimes we approach relationships the same way. And it's like, you know, the rules are the rules, but there's a lot of nuances in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think that, you know, as far as in the heat of the battle, we got to understand how to get out of you got to get off life support.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get out of the emergency room. How do you do that? There's going to be a clinician, or there's going to be a cardiologist. There's going to be somebody there
Mm-hmm.
that's going to tell you how to survive this situation. And as a follower of Christ, the word of God needs to be in the room,
Mm-hmm.
number one. And, you know, that's why it's important that, you know, couples and families, you surround yourselves with wise counsel.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need necessarily that wise counsel every day of the week,
Mm-hmm.
but when it's going down, you need to know who you can pick up the phone and invite it, watch this, into the emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
Who can you trust? Now, that's a whole message now. Now, if we was in church, that could be a whole message.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you trust in the emergency room
Right.
when they cutting and sewing?
Right.
Who can handle you in that moment of complete vulnerability? You know, you have to be careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times in those moments, couples and husbands need to know you can't go through everything alone, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes in your isolation, you may not have the tools to get out of it. You may not have the resources. You may not have the unbiased perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you may not have the wisdom, or you may not have the strength. Let's talk about that part.
Yes.
You know, some couples, even you and I, you find yourself in an emergency room, you find yourself on life support. You may not have the emotional, spiritual, or mental or physical strength.
Yes.
To get out of there alone.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be able to call in somebody trusted,
mm-hmm.
who can provide strength. And sometimes strength is presence. Sometimes it's not even about coming in and taking over,
Sure.
but their presence is strength.
Yes.
You got it? So it's important. And I hope y'all listen to understand, you know, sometimes this can be a matter of life or death.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
this can be a matter of life or death.
Absolutely.
So yes, there is some sense of urgency about this conversation, you know, because I'm tired of hearing about people's families and marriages falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
Good people,
mm-hmm.
loving people,
mm-hmm.
but they just can't live together.
Mhm.
You know, they can't figure out that Rubik's Cube of life together, you know, and it's enforced. So that's really why we, you know, having this conversation. And I guess let's make it real. Let's make it plain for the audience. In those moments of crisis, you know, what did you need from me in the emergency room?
Oh my goodness. That's a really good question. Um, I needed you to be there.
Okay. Presence.
Presence. And presence not only was physical presence, but
Mhm.
also having an awareness.
That's
Just
good.
like
That's good.
being there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I needed you to be willing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you've been with someone for a long period of time,
Yeah.
it is difficult to unlearn what you think you know about
Mm-hmm.
someone,
Mm-hmm.
and you and I have talked about this both ways. When you're with someone for a long period of time, you might be responding to a version of them.
That's boy.
From I know. Yeah, I know. I done tapped
A
into something.
version.
A version.
Man, you gotta know which version you're looking at.
Right. So we had been together for a very long time, and you would say, you know, you always blah, blah, blah. And I said, I ain't did that in 10 years. What do you, I have not done that in 10 years. Is this what we're talking about? Because that ain't happening, right? But, and we both been guilty of it, but you fixate on certain things. And they could be things to justify your position or to, you know, make sure you the one that's right or whatever, you know, or certainly with everything there's some truth, but okay, but that was that season.
Yeah.
We done talked about that. We done moved on, right?
Yeah.
And so being there and being present and having that sense of awareness of who you're talking to today.
Yeah.
And that willingness to be in the fight again.
Yeah.
And I think that part of it is huge because you both just have to be willing.
Yeah, that's good. No, that's good.
And that
That's
willingness to be in the fight.
Yes. Yes.
Again,
we've been asked that directly.
It's huge. Yes.
In the emergency room.
Yes. Are y'all willing? And I had to get back to you. Let me just
hold, please.
Hold, please. Please hold. Stand by. Brandon's over there. Stand by. Please hold.
We can laugh now. It wasn't funny then. Wasn't nothing funny.
Wasn't nothing funny.
Wasn't a thing funny.
But I didn't say no. because I had to go back to my training. I had to go back and
that muscle memory.
I had to do it.
But to your point,
yes.
and see this, and
yes.
let me just jump in.
Yes.
That's why what you said earlier about fighting fair and outlawing certain things earlier on help frame the moment in the emergency room.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, there was a frame of reference.
Yes.
That was created
they
years
probably
ago.
Thought I was playing.
Yeah, years ago. Yeah, years ago.
Just so the audience know, just because I be laughing.
Yeah. Ain't nothing funny.
Ain't nothing funny.
Yeah. Ain't nothing funny. Ain't nothing funny.
Nah. Ain't nothing funny.
No.
And so when I said that earlier, like, oh no, I had to have something to withdraw from.
Yes.
Because you have to lean on that.
Yes.
Because there will come a time, and I don't care how cute y'all are. I mean, baby, didn't we have a beautiful wedding? It was lovely.
It was major.
It was major. We was on top of the world. We had some CDs.
Yeah, CDs.
Back then. See, y'all don't know about that.
We had a soundtrack.
Y'all don't know. We had, and the kids call it a playlist now. I have to correct them.
Yeah.
I said, no, that was a soundtrack. We didn't have a playlist back then. But we had this life, right?
Yeah.
That and we still do. I don't want to say past tense, but when we got to that moment of crisis, if you would have asked those kids back in 2001,
like,
you know, what?
You ain't gonna be in no emergency room. What you talking
In the
about?
emergency room? What you? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so when asked, am I willing?
Mm-hmm.
I had something there that even in a moment of crisis,
Mm-hmm.
even when my emotions were all over the
Yeah.
place and all
Yeah.
of that, I had something there
Yeah.
as a point of reference.
Yes.
And so I can't overstate that,
Yeah.
enough. My naivete about the moment coming,
Mm-hmm.
because no one gets beyond it. And now that we're on the other side of it, the importance and the emphasis on
Mm-hmm.
you gotta, that rainy day fund
It's real.
is real. Is real.
It's
Not
real.
only for your health, not only for your finances.
Yeah.
The reason you going to the gym is for that rainy day fund. The reason why the relational capital. So these principles,
You say you got that equity.
you got to have that equity.
Equity.
And we're talking about relational capital, but having that capital is so important. It's critical.
It's critical.
It is critical. But for the people that are in it,
Mm-hmm.
that might not have had the money in the bank, because we have been talking a lot.
True.
We've been talking a lot
true.
preemptively. Okay, well, this is what you should do preemptively, right? And
I ain't got nothing.
And we got out of it because of preemptively, right? But for the folk that ain't got it, for the folk that was at negative, had a negative balance before the storm hit.
Yes.
And now it's just looking like,
yeah.
Yo. I can do bad.
I can do bad
by myself.
We even got the songs for it. See, that's why we got to be careful.
Got to be careful what we
of our heart.
Got to be careful. And them songs be bops too. We be we be
Lord.
Yes, we be it.
Yeah.
But for the people who don't have preemptively didn't have the capital, and have found themselves in the emergency room.
Yeah.
What do I do with that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is, again, and we have to speak through our lens of faith.
Yes.
I can't give you an answer that's divorced from my faith.
Amen.
So let me say that, so I think in the moment, that's why the power of agreement is so critical in a marriage, because even if you are depleted, even if your marriage is bankrupt, even if you have no money left in the bank in this marriage, there's been so many violations, God can still honor a new beginning.
Mm-hmm.
God can still honor the prayers of the righteous that availeth much. So even in that moment, God is not unable to respond in the emergency room.
Right.
With a man and a wife coming together and agreeing on a new future and a new beginning and a new marriage. You know what I mean? And we've experienced some marital, what do we call it? Marital revival in our lives. And we've seen other people, marital revivals, where a marriage can experience new life, new energy, new zeal, new passion. But it starts with agreement.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think, again, when you're in that moment, it's not a time to divorce yourself of your faith. It's time to lean into it. And that's why I said earlier, you got to really double down on what you truly believe. Is God who he says he is? And are we who he says he is? You know what I'm saying? Because it's critical, because, if you got nothing in the bank, everything is bankrupt, everything is exhausted, you come in agreement for that new beginning, that new marriage, that new life together, slates are wiped clean, then it's about putting one day in front of the other.
Mm-hmm.
one day at a time. Now we're building new
Mm-hmm.
equity. We're putting new capital. And I think what's critical in that moment is acknowledging the miracle in the new beginning
Yes.
and treating it accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
That means discussions and behaviors, they need to really respect that new beginning,
Mm-hmm.
But that's not easy
No.
because sometimes, as you're rebuilding, if something happens, you want to go all the way back to the beginning of the mess versus back to the place of the new agreement.
Sure.
And people, we got to be careful with that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? We got to be careful with that because, it's just, it can be very sensitive. It could be very tricky. And sometimes, and we could talk about this, Jamila, sometimes we can get lost in the ocean of
Mm-hmm.
years of offense and
Yes.
years of disappointment.
Yes.
So you may
Yes.
be talking about 2024,
Yes.
but your mind is now thinking about 2003, some
Right.
argument from 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
And now you're trying to string together this case that will end up, with a verdict of divorce.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we got to be careful with that. You know what I mean? We got to be careful with that. People had to be really careful and handle those new beginnings with care.
Mm-hmm. The ocean of offense.
Now, my sometimes my thing be cutting on.
Come on now. Come on now.
We get lost and we drown in that thing.
Come on now.
We get drown in it. And that I ain't saying nothing.
You not saying nothing to me. You already know I know.
Will swallow you up and
Yes.
you can't find the shore or the harbor.
No. Very easy. It's like a riptide. You get swept up.
Yeah,
you just get swept up in it.
And it's endless. And that's where the enemy likes to operate.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's an analogy in the scripture where it talks about offense being, I think, a millstone around a person's neck. And instead of floating, you sink.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's another thing I think in the emergency room is, again, back to the husband, and it's really husband and wife, but you asked me about the men earlier. We got to be able to pick up where our faults lie, but also where the enemy is trying to capitalize.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because again, the enemy's mission to kill, steal, and destroy is real. We see that in scripture.
Yes.
So I think, again, when you're in the emergency room, you have to be very discerning. How do we get here? And how is, that resistance, where it's coming from? Sometimes it's coming from within, sometimes it's coming from without, sometimes it's coming from both.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I think, the message for me is, be very careful in saying it's too late.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because again, you can be in the emergency room and you self-sabotage by speaking it's too late.
Yep.
You ain't even got, the master physician in the room yet, and you already speaking death over the marriage or over the relationship. You know what I mean? So we got to be really careful with that. We got to be very careful with some of these narratives that we meditate on, because again, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if we're meditating on some of these crazy social media narratives, you will talk yourself out of reconciliation. You will talk yourself out of marital renewal. You know what I mean? If we had time, we could talk about some folks that we talk about and look at that look like they thought it was about to be sweet out here, being 47 years old and single, you thought it was about to be sweet.
Because in your mind.
In your mind. I'm like, girl.
You thought it was 97,
man,
honey. It ain't 97
you better
no
have
more.
18 seats. You know what I mean? Is the grass ain't greener. The grass is not greener, shall we say? Let's
It's
just
hard
say,
out here.
Oh, it's wicked.
If you ain't dated it since the 99 and the 2000s, I'm gonna need you. Yeah. Because it's hard.
It's a cold game.
It's a cold game now, and it's different.
It's a cold game.
It's different.
We should land the plane.
It's different. It's different.
We did help somebody up in here.
I hope we help somebody. But to close us out today, I want to underscore what you were saying about keeping score. And about when you make the decision, whether you are making the decision from a place of having some equity in the bank, or making a decision from a place of we ain't doing nothing but trusting God. And God, if you don't do it, it ain't gonna happen. And truthfully, that's where we all are at every point. But there's parts on that spectrum where we have that understanding that God, you really gonna have to step in and fix this. That once you make a decision to choose again to be with the person you are with, you need to close that back door.
Oh yeah, that back door.
You need to close that back door. And we talk about that analogy a lot. That people enter marriages, enter relationships, kind of like they playing double dutch.
Got a night bag packed in the car. First year of marriage.
I got a night. Listen, why you telling the people on me? Night bag, other account, account over here on the side.
Oh yeah, all that.
Because my daddy told me. Right? Even to be well-meaning, but those are the kinds of things that when you make the decision for your marriage, make the decision. And we made that decision again in a very significant way for one another. And that decision, and I need to unpack this just a little bit. I'm not going to ask you to unravel it because we could talk about it another day. But we also put everything on the table again and said, you know what? We were happy with this. Like, that made you happy 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
If that don't make you happy now, we don't have to pretend, that makes you.
In the emergency room.
That makes you happy now. If that's not who you are, because that was a really big part of it. You go decades of, like you said, falling asleep at the wheel, or this is how we did it, or I know this person, so now I know the cheat code, or the way to kind of get around it. And you look up and you're not in a good place. We were willing to say it all goes on the whiteboard again. And if that don't work, I don't want you to sit here and fake the funk for me. For the sake of,
that's true.
I'm just going to fake the funk. We too old to be sitting here unhappy, like to be unhappy and not to be able to express clearly to one another what we want in this next season. We were very happy to do that as teenagers and say, well, this is what I want.
This dream.
So
California dream.
So we did that at one point of the relationship, but once you start to like meld this life together, it got very hard and very complicated to see those lines of distinction again. And I'm grateful that we took the opportunity, honey, to hit that Control-Alt-Delete. It was a hard reset. It was a hard shut down all the windows.
We may get some text messages after this episode.
Listen, everybody know the number. It ain't changed since 98, speaking of the 90s.
Like, hold on.
What
happened? What we missed?
But it was, what did I miss? But it was that hard Control-Alt-Delete and said,
Yeah.
We got to wipe it all clean, almost like folks that got a food allergy that said, we're going to take the diet all the way
Complete
down here.
new diet.
And then we are going to decide what we bring back in and see what reaction.
Yes.
Because if I start breaking out in hives, we ain't doing that no more.
Yeah.
And the decision was made to do that both ways. Like, we want to not only choose one another again, but choose to be happy in our choice.
Yes.
And not conceding or
that's right.
Feeling like, I'm here because I know what to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna just suffer.
But I'm just gonna suffer through it.
Till he called me
I'm
home.
gonna thug it out. I'm gonna do my time. I got these years. I'm just, you know what I'm saying?
I said, till I get my milk and honey.
Listen, grandfather got his milk and honey. If anybody is with the Lord today, J. Van Bugs is with the Lord today, because he always was saying he gonna get his milk and honey, and I believe he has it today. I believe he has it today. So I just want to thank you for having this conversation and for inviting this conversation about this emergency room and this crisis. And we were talking about it in terms of marriage and relationship, but our health could fall into that bucket. Our finances can fall into that bucket. We've talked many times about utilizing mentors and people that we trust. So check out some of those old episodes when we talk about how to pick your mentors and how to understand who those people are that can speak into your life in moments like this. But I hope this helps somebody.
I hope so too, y'all. We So we do want to say thank you for tuning
We are saying thank you. This was we need a break.
Yeah, exactly. Usually Jamila want to keep going, but she like, ooh, I'm tapped out.
We need a break. Yeah.
So we thank y'all for tuning in to this very special episode. Do us a favor. Share this episode with a couple you know may need to listen in. We know that we may have not addressed your individual situation, but we realize that marriage and relationships and family can be challenging.
Yes.
And they require support. They require prayer. They require endurance. They require listening.
Yes.
And all of that jazz. So however long this episode is, we just pray that it will benefit you and somebody that you know, love, and cherish.
Yes.
So with that, we're going to sign off from the living room.
Yes.
From With Love, the Chambers. We will see you again real soon. Signing off. God bless.
This episode of With Love, the Chambers was brought to you by the Vision Engineering Collective, where purpose meets strategy and vision comes to life. If you've been enjoying the stories, the laughs, and those deep life lessons, we invite you to support the show and help us keep the love flowing. Head over to www.cough.ee/withlovethechambers. Think of it like buying us a cup of coffee or two. As always, thank you for hanging with us. We'll see you next time. With Love, the Chambers.
That's a wrap for today's episode of With Love, the Chambers.
We hope you laughed, learned, and felt encouraged along the way.
If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who needs a little love and wisdom today.
You can also connect with us online on all social media platforms at Rufus Chambers Online and at Jamila Chambers. We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time,
keep living, keep laughing, and keep learning with Love, the Chambers.